After a girl has worked in the city and seen the world, would she still be willing to return to the countryside to get married? Rural girl Alma once said this.
If I can't find a suitable man outside, I'll come back anyway, as there are many men here who haven't found a wife yet.
Despite having a daughter out of wedlock while working outside in her early years, Alma still has many suitors in the village. The bachelors in the village often come to eat at the small restaurant Alma runs, and they jokingly say things to pursue her. Although these words are jokes, the bachelors genuinely want Alma to stay. To marry her, they come for meals every few days, supporting her business while maintaining frequent contact with her. In contrast, Xiaodu is an honest man. Drinking the wine Alma personally serves him at her restaurant can make Xiaodu happy for days. Though he also comes to court her, his sincerity shows in how he helps clean the tables. Perhaps he believes that a girl's heart cannot refuse a man's true affection. Over time, he thinks Alma might be moved. However, Alma does not think so.
I think everyone in the village feels like brothers and sisters, so how could love develop?
A few days later, the restaurant closed down. Alma decided to pursue a better life in the city, leaving her child behind and going alone. Staring at the tightly closed restaurant, Xiaodu furrowed his brows and fell into disappointment once again. Xiaodu lives in Yuanbashan, Guangxi, a famous remote mountainous area in Guangxi. Due to its remoteness, poverty, and inconvenient transportation, many women are unwilling to marry there. As a result, finding a wife has become the most challenging issue for the remaining young men. Although Xiaodu's hard-working nature is well known in the surrounding villages, he has never been able to find a girl he likes. At 28 years old, he is still single. His helpless father has pinned all his hopes on this year's Miao ethnic group's matchmaking event, where many girls from other places will participate. In Yuanbashan's tradition, a young man who can play the flute is considered smart and capable, making it easier to attract girls. On the other hand, playing the simpler di-tong signifies clumsiness. Xiaodu's father won over his wife with his excellent flute skills in his youth. Unfortunately, Xiaodu did not inherit his father's talent and can only play the simpler di-tong.
This is the di-tong. Only the dullest people in our village play the di-tong. I can't play the flute, so I have to play this.
As the matchmaking event approached, Xiaodu played the di-tong with great effort. Unmarried Miao girls from the surrounding villages dressed up and attended the event. At the matchmaking event, any boy who caught a girl's eye would be stepped on by her. The harder the stomp, the more she liked him. To help Xiaodu find a girlfriend, his whole family worked hard playing the di-tong. Thanks to his parents' support, Xiaodu was finally chosen by a girl from a neighboring village. After being selected, Xiaodu needed to stay at the girl's home for 3 days, a tradition known locally as being a guest, meant to increase mutual understanding. In the evening, the girl from the neighboring village gave him the highest standard of hospitality. Xiaodu was full of joy, as this was his best chance at marriage. From then on, the two would play together daily, wandering through the valleys and picking azaleas. However, Xiaodu eventually lost in the competition, not to another village boy, but to a young man from the city driving a car. Watching the girl he liked get into the car without hesitation, Xiaodu stood alone on the hillside, staring into the cold wind for a long time. To make matters worse, before leaving, the young man even honked the horn provocatively. After experiencing 2 failures, Xiaodu also had the idea of going to the city. He wanted to see what kind of magic that place had that made the girls in the Miao village so fascinated. So, Xiaodu went to Shenzhen. Seeing the towering skyscrapers and all the beautiful girls, Xiaodu stood by the street, overwhelmed. Despite this, he did not forget the purpose of his trip. To make a living, he joined a large mobile phone factory. Although his diligent and capable nature quickly promoted him to workshop leader, how could a life in a dull factory help him find a wife? Therefore, Xiaodu approached his boss and requested a transfer to the sales department, where he could interact with more people. Shortly after, Xiaodu would meet someone he could spend his life with. While selling phones, Xiao Du met a girl named Xiao Jia who worked at a mobile phone store. It happened that they were from the same hometown. They hit it off immediately, and after spending some time together, they grew to like each other. Xiao Jia had a good impression of the diligent and sincere Xiao Du, but she was also somewhat bothered by the fact that he could only play the ditong.
In our region, girls tend to prefer boys who can play the flute, especially those who can play the small flute. These boys are the most favored by local girls. Because if a boy can play the small flute, it shows that he is quite capable. Boys who can only play the ditong are considered the most foolish. Seeing Xiao Du play that ditong was really quite funny.
Although their hearts grew closer, Xiao Du never found the courage to define his relationship with Xiao Jia. After all, one sold phones while the other marketed them. Neither dared to discuss the future, leaving both at a standstill, much to Xiao Du's frustration. During the factory's holidays, Xiao Du often visited Old Wen's home. Old Wen, a photographer who frequently traveled to Xiao Du's hometown for shoots, always stayed with Xiao Du's family. Seeing Xiao Du's perplexed expression, Old Wen couldn't help but speak his mind.
The cost of living in the city is too high for you to settle down there for long. For instance, even if I don't ask you to buy a house, just letting you live there, you wouldn't be able to afford it. The management fee is 4 yuan per square meter, and you can calculate the utilities yourself. It's really too much pressure for you. Returning to the countryside, back to your hometown, although you won't earn as much money as in the city, your happiness index will be very high.
After heeding Old Wen's advice, Xiao Du was deeply moved. Consequently, he boldly decided to return to his hometown and start a business, intending to find a place of his own. Artist Lao Huang came to Yuanbao Mountain every year for sketching. Over the years, each time he entered the mountain, he stayed at Old Du's house. Over the years, the two became close friends. Therefore, whenever Lao Huang arrived, Xiao Du would take the initiative to guide him because he understood that this was his resource. When the village's rice was ripe, Lao Huang would bring 50 or 60 students into the mountains for sketching. The boarding and lodging for this group was taken care of by the Old Du family. Therefore, the nimble-minded Xiao Du also saw the business opportunities in receiving sketching and photography tourists. He began to take on the work of guiding tourists and providing accommodations and meals.
Every time I come here to eat and stay, he accompanies me to trek through mountains and valleys for photography. When I leave, he refuses to take my money, saying, "We're brothers, no need for money. Just help promote our village as much as you can."
After the promotion, Xiao Du began breeding grass carp. Grass carp are known for their tender meat and delicious taste as they feed on rice flowers. It soon became a must-try delicacy for every traveler. From then on, Xiao Du dedicated himself to meticulously studying seedling cultivation techniques. After 6 months of trial and error, he finally achieved an optimal hatching rate for grass carp. In addition, Xiao Du took on the contract for a small hillside to specifically cultivate hill chickens. To facilitate transportation, he built a cableway across the canyon. With the help of previous promotions and referrals, all his chickens were sold to several large hotels in Liuzhou and Nanning. With his first earnings, he bought a second-hand pickup truck. Since Xiao Jia returned to work in Liuzhou, every time he went to deliver goods, he would make a special visit.
When I finish work, he always waits for me at the door, making me feel embarrassed to go back with him. However, he persists in waiting for me there, relentlessly pursuing me.
After having some money in his pocket, Xiao Du finally gathered the courage to face love. That day, he confessed to Xiao Jia, a statement she had long awaited. That winter, Lao Huang invited Xiao Du's family to Beijing for an art exhibition. Seeing his hometown depicted in the paintings, Lao Du was deeply moved and pleasantly surprised. Within the artwork, he found his own house and his small figure. Over the past decade, Lao Huang had been hosted by Lao Du's family every time he came to the mountains to paint, and their friendship was captured within this painting. As a result of Lao Huang's endorsement, Qingshan Village's reputation grew, attracting many curious visitors. Shortly after the art exhibition, Lao Huang brought a group of friends to visit Qingshan Village, along with 20 million renminbi in funding, preparing to hire a professional design and construction team to transform Qingshan Village into a national plein-air painting base. The goal was to preserve ethnic characteristics and restore its original appearance. With the establishment of the base, Xiaodu undertook the landscaping project. In the same year, he married Xiao Jia.
同情父起婚姻赋予我们的责任和义务，上孝父母，下教子女，勿近父爱，父信父敏，勿量勿让，相濡以沫，总爱一生。
Perhaps Xiaodu's success largely stems from his self-awareness and perseverance. He never forgot what he wanted, and after becoming wealthy, he didn't blindly chase after pretty girls or move to the city. Instead, he stayed in Qingshan Village with Xiao Jia, steadfastly adhering to his original aspirations. Which type of girl do you prefer, rural or urban? Feel free to leave your comments below and let's discuss together. That wraps up this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. We will continue to provide you with authentic reporting. Thank you once again for watching, and see you next time.